Hello, welcome to the PSS Podcast. I guess I should answer the obvious question. Was PSS, what's it stand for? Stand for the Pro Simulation Sports. Sorry, I shouldn't have used the letter S, or shouldn't have said the. Stand for Pro Simulation Sports. So what I'm going to do, we can try to keep these podcasts to like 10 minutes or less. So I'm going to, just for the next 10 minutes, just off the top of my head, try to explain what's going on. I'm sure that'll leave holes and I'll miss stuff. I'll leave questions and that'll leave openings for me to talk about other stuff or answer those questions in the future podcasts. So let's go. So for those who don't know what simulation sports are, at least more specifically, how they kind of function, interact as an interactive entertainment. Some are paid, where you have to pay to play. Some you pay for free, or you don't pay for free. You play for free, and what you do is the league sets up some kind of sign-up form, and depending on what sport they do and how they run it, you create your player. Maybe you start with an archetype of kind of player. Maybe you start from zero or their predetermined base. Or sometimes they'll give you so many points to put to certain attributes, and that's how you usually start. And they usually use readily available video games, Madden, NHL, whatever year it is, NBA 2K, whatever year it is, and so forth. There's also wrestling and MMA and soccer, all kinds of different kind of sim sports leagues. Where we're going to be different than, I think, anyone else. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a league like what I'm about to describe out there, and I just haven't seen it yet. So here we go. What we're doing is you create one person, and that one person, character, whatever you want to call it, avatar, some people said, that one character will play in every league within Pro Simulation Sports. We're going to start with an all-encompassing combat league, which will be MMA, boxing, and professional wrestling, and football. Now we're starting with games that you probably wouldn't expect for those two. For football, we're starting with Sunday Rivals. If you've seen that game, its graphics aren't its isn't its emphasis. It's gameplay. It's a fun game to play. Simulation sports wise, we'll see if it's a fun game to watch. With that said, just because we're starting off with that game doesn't mean that's going to be the game we're going to use forever. It's very possible it's only a 1-year thing with that game. We want to see what Maximum Football looks like. Maximum Football just came out. We'll give that thing a chance to work out bugs. We thought about college football. That just came out last summer. I want to see how that looks, what our options will be. Madden is starting to, you can create your own teams now. Look at that, though. Madden's kind of been done to death. So we're going to kind of look at those things, and if the league calls for change, and I'll either explain how we decide that kind of thing later in this podcast or a later podcast. With professional, or with the combat league, all-encompassing combat league, we're using 2 games to start off with, and I'm blanking on what the boxing game is called. We used it last year. We were actually going to start the PSS with that game, and then that game glitched, and we lost everything we started. There's supposed to be so that game was on tablet. A more advanced, better version of that game. It's supposed to come out on Steam. We're still waiting for it, so we're kind of in this place where we're not sure if we're going to go ahead and try the tablet again, or wait a little bit longer for the boxing game and then start the combat club with boxing to come. But it'd be easier for making our application to sign up if we have all the sports we're going to do on that. And we're not going to get into how our sign-up form's going to be. We'll get into that later. But again, and then the other side of Combat League, we're using Wrestling Empire, which again, that game isn't about graphics. Graphics aren't terrible. They're kind of cartoony, and kind of 64-bit-ish. But again, that's not necessarily a permanent thing. What we may do is either jump to a new game, but there's a couple of games coming out that's like, well, maybe we should go to that game. Maybe we should go to that game. So we want to keep it simple at first, and then see what these other games are like. The Wrestling Code and Ultra Pro Wrestling. And of course, WWE 2K is on the table. And if AEW makes a game that would suit what we're doing better, then we'll consider that. Really, we thought Wrestling Code would have been out sometime this past summer, and it was a three horse race, whatever, between WWE, AEW, and the Wrestling Code. But then AEW came out, and its creation suite is not that good. You have to play the game to build up characters, which defeats what we're doing. Like, for every new person who signs up, we can't play the whole game just to build up people. It's like creating people as it is will take time. Yes, kitty. Joined in the studio by Jackie the cat. Anyway, how much time we got? We got 2.5 minutes left. So those are the games we're starting out with. Now, why is it called the Pro Simulation Sports? Or not the, I gotta quit saying the. Why is it called Pro Simulation Sports? Because we want to eventually make this something where you can win / make money off of. Like in football and the other sports that are come like team sports where there'll be owners, there'll be cash prizes going to the owners of the champions. If whoever wins the championship, I mean. You're distracting me, Jackie. So anyway, now right now we're just thinking about $100 cash prizes. But as the league grows, those cash prizes hopefully will grow as well. And when those cash prizes grow, owners may want to actually pay people actual money for their players, for their human players, that is, because we don't know yet, but, teams might have, not computer-generated players, but players created just to fill holes. Because for starters, the Football League, we're starting 48 teams. And people will be able to draft from created players that are submitted, or submitted players, however you want to look at that, and NFL players. But another twist to what we're doing in football is it's Iron Man football. So you're only going to have a certain amount of players to fill the positions. I kind of lost track of my thought. But we're about 30 seconds away from the 10-minute limit. So we'll wrap this up. Any questions? Put them in the comments. But one thing I want to add. We already have football, or basketball, soccer, and baseball planned for the near future as well. Just to let you know what the future holds, basketball definitely coming next year, 2025. All right, time's up. Like, subscribe, turn notifications, follow all that other stuff.